Alright, so hi y'all, it's Tiffany. First of all, excuse my appearance because this is an off day from dialysis. Um, I don't have to look great. Who am I gonna look great for, Nuni? No. And if my face does read a little shiny on camera, I just got done moisturizing, so this is hydration. It's not grease. It's hydration. But what I wanted to talk about today, well, I was supposed to actually complain about this one nurse in dialysis who doesn't know how to um, tape up your wounds properly after treatment, which is why I came to realize that if you followed my tweets, I complain all the time the last couple weeks that once I would have treatment, my arm would bleed for like an hour. And that's incredibly unusual for me. That's not supposed to happen. So, I was about to throw this one particular nurse under the bus, but in light of what happened yesterday, not to me personally, but in light of what happened to me yesterday and what I saw happen, um, it really made me mad, needlessly. It was something that should not have happened. And if I sound a little bit condescending, Um, I probably am being condescending, and I probably am going to be very condescending throughout the video. This is my sleeping mask, and there are actually 4 bobby pins holding it up on my head right now, and it's still slipping down because I'm wearing pajamas. Because all I did today was try to recuperate from yesterday, calm my nerves because I was angry about what happened yesterday, which I'm about to tell you about in about a second, and just trying to work on writing my horror story, which is sorely overdue, but that's a totally different thing. And okay, what happened yesterday? So, in dialysis, you've heard me, I don't even know, maybe the last 6 months, maybe the last 9 months or whatever, have been expressing my dismay with how the state has stepped in. I'm in Texas. How the state has stepped in and have started incorporating all of these new rules and regulations that are basically a pain in the ass of anybody who has good common sense because they took out our trash cans. Like every station in dialysis, every patient had a little trash can by them. They took away our trash cans. So because they said it was, like a health hazard or biohazard. Okay, let's just rewind. I've April makes 10 years I've been on dialysis, and I can honestly say out of 10 years, thank God, I have not had an infection. I may catch the occasional cold every now and again, but I have not really had any major medical issues directly tracing back to the dialysis floor at all. No. So, they're just getting stricter and stricter. Like, I eat breakfast every morning before I go into dialysis. I don't usually eat breakfast at home, but I have to eat it before dialysis because if not, I just will be weak and wilt in the chair. So they have a policy now where, like, when my father was alive, if I didn't have a chance to get something to eat, my dad would drop me off. He'd go wherever and bring me food, and they'd let him walk in on the floor, hand me my bag, whatever. Now, for some reason of contamination, you cannot receive food in the treatment floor. You would have to leave, get off the machine, which is a 10-minute process in itself, and walk to the lobby to get it, which I really don't understand how the fuck walking 30 feet makes a difference. It's not like somebody's just going to get a bucket of blood dumped on them like in Carrie or something while they're bringing you a hamburger or something. But hey, it makes sense to them. So good for them if they can kind of like justify that and sleep at night. Now, here's one for yesterday. What happened? I really hope none of those sons of bitches sleep after realizing how stupid as fuck their rule is. And I'm getting fed up. This didn't even happen to me. This was me on the sidelines witnessing this happening. And I had to intervene, or else basically nothing would have happened. So I took my treatment. My treatment was fine. And, I walked out to the lobby to sit down and wait for the bus to come get me. So they have a policy where if you leave out the front door of the lobby, even if you're in the parking lot or whatever, you are not their responsibility, which is why you've heard me say time and again, um, liable, liable, liable. And if I step across the street and have a heart attack or just keel over dead or whatever, I'm not their responsibility and they can't get sued or reprimanded in any sort of way because I'm technically off the property. So there was a different story where I missed it, but I heard a whole lot about it. There, this was funny. There was one woman, and she would always roll out into the parking lot in her wheelchair after dialysis. And one day it was soaking wet, just pouring down rain. And she went out in the rain, got cold, came back in, and I kid you not, she got buck naked in the lobby. She wheeled out of the door and the nurses didn't touch her. If somebody would have stopped her at the door and intervened, the whole naked episode would have never happened. Now, back to what happened yesterday. I have diverted like 6 times. This is how my mind works. I apologize. Okay, so like I said, I came out and I could see a man and a woman at the door with the door open, two other patients. And, I didn't think too much of it. At first, it looked like they were just wrestling with a wheelchair. So I put my coat and my stuff down and I look a little bit closer and I can see that there's a man who had fallen. I don't know if he had fallen walking up or if he'd fallen out of the wheelchair itself, but he was trying to get back up. And here is where lunacy ensued. I go over to the door and I asked him because there was like nobody else in the lobby. I go over to the door and I asked him, I said, well, do you need help? Do you want me to get somebody? And I kid you not, the lady turned and looked at me. She's a fellow dialysis patient. I'll leave her nameless. But she looked at me and she had like horror in her eyes. And she said, these are her words exactly. I thought the nurses couldn't come outside to help us. And, you know, she's standing there looking at me like that. The guy that's helping her is looking the same way. The poor guy that fell is still on his knees trying to get the fuck up. And I was like, well, the hell with them and them not coming outside. Fuck that. Somebody's going to come outside and help this guy. So I went back. The receptionist already left for the weekend or whatever. Left for the day. But you can slide the window back and forth. So I slid the window back and forth and I screamed like Michael Jackson had just walked in. Hey, this man has fallen out of his wheelchair. We need some help out here. There are 6 nurses on the floor. I bet you all 6 nurses came running out into the lobby and, help pick the guy up off the ground, even though they're technically not supposed to. But I mean, basically all I could think about was, what if I hadn't come out when I did? What if I hadn't called for help for them? Those 2 people couldn't have picked that man up because the lady is smaller than I am, and the man helping her, he's on a walker himself, and they're trying to lift a man who's, I'd say, feasibly at least 150, 160 pounds. Um, no. And I mean, it was just pitiful that, they could have very easily gone to the window like I did or went and knocked on the treatment floor door and asked for help. And because of this fucking rule, they it didn't even occur to them to ask for help. And, that man may have not never gotten back up. I mean, I don't know what his physical condition is. I don't know what his medical condition is. Just the stress of trying to get back in a wheelchair may have caused this man to have a stroke, may have caused this man to have a heart attack. I mean, anything could have happened. And he was literally 5 feet out the door from the lobby. But technically, he was in no man's land for the people in dialysis. So basically, I'm thinking about all the times I walk back and forth to get something to eat. You know, um, what if somebody grabs me in the parking lot? What if somebody starts stabbing me in the parking lot or something? And what if they can physically see me being attacked and nobody tries to intervene. Nobody tries to help. And I just think it's really ridiculous that, the people who go there are entrusting these people with their lives, with dialysis, entrusting these people to take care of them, look after them. Their families are entrusting them to take care of them and look after them. And if a man falls out of a chair and everyone is under the impression that you can't bother the nurses to help somebody, what is the fucking point of the nurses being there? That's what I'd like to know. I mean, honestly, what is the purpose of the nurses being there? And I've seen the nurses do so much stuff. I've seen so much stuff happen. And a lot of it really does not make sense. Like, if somebody has distress on the floor, like, somebody passes out, they're unresponsive, whatever, the nurses go through this big production of putting up these dividers. But I mean, okay, some of them are deaf. Some of the people there are deaf. But the majority of us know, okay, this person is unresponsive, this person is possibly dying. You putting the thing around them doesn't really mask that we can hear, get the crash cart, start compressions, call 911. But they don't want to distress the patients. But I mean, I've said this before. I've seen two people die right in front of my eyes on a dialysis floor, cardiac arrest, and I mean, yeah, you went and you got your crash card, and yeah, you went and you got your dividers, but the person was dead before you even put the stuff up. You can see the life go out of somebody's eyes, like I have. And the third time, this is what pissed me off bad, and I'm sure, I think I tweeted this the other day about like how it's so much money for if you show up, if you don't show up. That's why they keep threatening me with third shift if I don't show up, regardless if I'm sick or whatever, because they miss out on what they draw from Medicare off of me. And I kid you not, I told the story and nobody believed me, but this really happened. This was years ago because my father was still alive. My dad drove up to the place and there was an ambulance there. And I mean, that's nothing unusual. People come and leave in ambulances all the time if they're unable to, like, walk in themselves. That's normal. And as we got there and my dad was parking and I looked and I didn't see a stretcher so much. I saw the black body bag. Just like in CSI or the TV shows or movies or whatever. And I was like, Dad, I think that's a dead body. And my dad was like, a real dead body? It's not funny, but I was like, yeah, I think that's a dead body, Dad. Like, I think that's a body in a body bag. And so he told me to go see, because I mean, my dad, he was in his 80s. Of course, he'd seen death already, especially since he served in the war. But World War II. Um, I go in, and that's what had happened. A guy had taken treatment, came out. His wife was there to pick him up. Took with a heart attack right there in the lobby and died. And his wife was in hysterics, justifiably, because her husband had just died in her arms. And I swear to God, kid you not, as the body is being loaded into the ambulance, people are patting at the wife, and the wife is all hysterical, like, "Oh my God, my husband's gone. I loved him so much." There's a nurse in the background. She probably didn't think I could hear her over the lady in hysterics over her husband at now being a widow, but I could hear her saying to somebody on the phone, "Yeah, a 9:30 spot just opened up. Why don't you come in?" The body's not even out the fucking driveway yet, and you're trying to fill the spot already? Like, why first of all, why the fuck are you on the phone and not, helping this woman that just lost her husband? And I mean, I think it's ridiculous. I think it's stupid. But I mean, that's just the way, um, I guess doctors and nurses and medical professionals have been conditioned to not be human anymore. They're just like unfeeling, not feeling. stone. I probably kicked rocks with more emotion than some of them. But yeah, that's what I wanted to talk about is, how it pissed me off because really, I think that if I hadn't intervened with that guy, I know his name, but I'm not gonna say his name. Um, he could possibly still now be trying to get in that damn wheelchair if I hadn't said help. I mean, it's not the best environment to walk into. It's not like welcoming or warm or it's very cold, it's very austere. Um I personally have started to have a reaction to it. At first I thought it was my wig, just rubbing me the wrong way while I was sitting in dialysis. I've switched wigs in and out, and this is a wig, obviously. And I've begun to notice that I break out in hives whenever I'm in dialysis, just simply from not wanting to be there. Like I know I need to be there, like I know I need this treatment or else I'll die or whatever. And for the whole time I'm there, I'm itching all over like I've rolled in poison ivy or something. And as soon as they pull the needles, the itching stops. It stops. And it took me a while to realize, hey, it's not me, it's being there actually in person is what's rubbing me the wrong way, which is pitiful because I need it. I have no other fucking option. And, I just keep getting angry and angrier every time I have to go. This is really annoying me. I thought it would look cute for the video, but it keeps sliding up and down. But I'm almost done. Yeah. But yeah, that's just what I wanted to talk about and say. And, it's not right. People should help. And isn't that what nursing is about in the first place? Helping? I mean, yeah. That's what the nurse, at least that's what I believe it is. What I was taught to believe. One of my aunts is a nurse who just retired. And all day she helped people. So maybe their definition of helping is different from the common man. Maybe. I don't know. But I just wanted to share that and I'm pissed off still. And I don't know, I think if I see another incident like that happen, perhaps I will have to try to get in touch with somebody who is a higher up and see just what can be done, if anything can be done. Alright, so that's it for me. Bye bye.